Get your forks and your bibs ready. Grill masters will be battling it out to see who will be crowned the best in the city in the 3rd annual Jacksonville Backyard BBQ Championships. And we have sports expert, cooking guru, and Daniel board member Cole Pepper all rolled into one. He got a lot of jobs here, but today he's grill master.
Well, and I want to give some tips on how to get your ribs just right. Of course, you're going to see a lot of different ways to prep ribs as the season begins, and you'll taste a lot of those as well when you go out to the Backyard BBQ Championships on Saturday. 3 kind of main ways I'm going to talk about, Jason. First, let's start with brining. Okay. And typically with brining, what you'll do is I like to brine in just a freezer bag. And what you want to do is be able to infuse some flavor and also break down the connective tissue with using things like sea salt. We've got some sea salt here. We'll put some of that in there. And
you always use sea salt, not regular salt?
Yeah, I like the texture better. Plus, it's healthier for you in general. And you can find a lot of different kinds of flavors in sea salts through the gourmet shops and so forth.
And what was that? That's
just good old-fashioned lemonade. All that is just lemonade that's not made with high fructose corn syrup, just with pure sugar, and the citric acid in there and the sugar really help break down what we have with these ribs. So I'll just take these baby backs that I've trimmed ahead of time here and just set them in here. And this is a good way to prep ribs, particularly overnight or for an extended period of time. And you put them in the refrigerator and let them go, and it'll just soak up all that flavor. Plus, it'll start breaking them down. I find that brining works more effectively on spare ribs than baby back ribs, because baby back ribs are typically a little more tender to begin with.
How long will that take?
I'll put that in usually overnight in the refrigerator. You can do for 3 or 4 hours at minimum, but certainly allow you to get a little more texture and tenderness in your ribs when you do that. The other one a lot of folks will use is a dry rub, and this is one of the dry rub recipes that I use myself, and I made that up ahead of time, and it's things like sugars and salts and paprika and different peppers and so forth. About 13 different ingredients in this one, and a great way with the dry rub. And if you want to do it, dig in. Just
get my hands dirty.
Yeah, put it on there a little bit. Put them on those ribs.
Just sprinkle, or I mean, you just slap it on?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, you know, don't beat up the ribs. They don't want to look like it came out of a boxing match. But yeah,
Rocky.
There you go. And you want it thick enough so there's flavor on every part of the rib, but not so much that it creates a real crust on it, because you're going to cook these low and slow over a low heat with a lot of smoke.
It smells delicious.
Yeah.
It's not even cooked yet.
Yeah, and so now, the other thing to remember, when it cooks, the heat's going to interact with the rub, and so it's not necessarily going to taste just like that, but you want to be able to balance both your heat and your sweetness with that and kind of season it to your taste. And then the other approach is a wet mop, and this can get a little sloppy, a little messy. There are a bunch of ways to make a good wet mop, but for starters, and this is what I like to do, you can actually combine all 3 of these approaches in one if you wanted to. And we'll use the lemonade once again as a base, and then kind of use that to water down some barbecue sauce. Just get whatever old barbecue sauce you like.
And this is your special brand?
This is just
Cole Pepper.
Happen to have a little bit of that in the
handy
refrigerator. And then you can even add some texture to it with some sea salt and so forth. And you can use a bag like this to mix it, or you can mix it in a bowl and do it the old-fashioned way. And then as you're cooking, you just use a mop like this, and it helps keep the moisture in there. Now, the one caveat I will say to this is that if you are using a mop, the more times you open up the smoker, the more heat's going to go out, which means it's going to be more difficult to find that a real perfect point as far as the moisture is concerned with your ribs.
We got about 30 seconds. Why don't you mention how this benefits Daniel real quick?
Yeah, the Backyard BBQ Championships is the main fundraiser for the Glenn Cook Memorial Scholarship for Daniel Kids. This is a scholarship that helps pay for the cost of college for kids who have previously been homeless and who are treated at Daniel through the Project Prepare program. So we look forward to seeing everybody out there on Saturday.
Great. Here's the information for the event. Of course, it gets bigger every year. Cole says the competition will be next Saturday, May 21st, from noon until 6 p.m. They had to move it. It's the first time it's been at the Pepsi Plaza over at Everbank Field, because it, again, just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Tickets are only $15. Website's JacksBBQChampionships.com. There's also a number on your screen for more information. Thanks a lot, Cole.